Welcome to the Healthy Perspective Podcast with your host, chiropractor, entrepreneur, mentor, and author, Dr. Chris Bowman. He'll break down and extract the secret sauce behind his own success and the success of some of the top leaders in every category and from around the world. Get ready for your weekly mental adjustment because shift is going to happen.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Healthy Perspective Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we have Callie in the house. She's a Southern California-based plus-size blogger and content creator with a focus on fashion and travel and encouraging all women to live their lives authentically and to the fullest. Callie, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I am so well. Thank you so much for joining us. So kind of tell me your journey to becoming, an influencer and in the space that you kind of live in. How did you get here?
I've always loved the things that I still share. So fashion and travel specifically, I've loved them as long as I can remember. Fashion since I was a really little girl, and then travel as soon as I started experiencing it when I was in my teens. And I spent most of my first decade in the workforce working in retail and luxury goods. And I realized that so much of that sector excluded people like me. I worked in retail and fashion and I couldn't shop at most of the places I worked at. So I started a kind of an outlet. I started an Instagram where I would share my own outfits. And then I started sharing my trips and my experiences living abroad. And I got more questions from other plus size women asking for my input. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And here we are.
Here you are living out your dream. And, knowing you personally as well, I obviously follow you and I love a lot of the posts that you post. They're not around like focusing on the issue of like body shaming or, whatever. It's like, I one of the posts that you did and I'll forever remember it. You said like, I'm not defined by my body shape or by my body size or, so let's stop talking about the problem or a problem. Let's talk about what we actually want to do to fix things. Like
totally. I always say that my size is literally the least interesting thing about
right.
me.
Yeah.
I have a lot of not that interesting things about me, and they're still more interesting than my size. So yeah, I say that I'm a plus size blogger because to me, that's kind of the key word that makes someone feel like she knows what it's like. Yeah. She does understand that there are literal logistical struggles when it comes to things like shopping and traveling. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very open about that. And I have no shame about my body or my size, but you're right. It's not that interesting. And if I change size one way or another a little bit, who cares?
Right,
the
right.
least interesting thing about us is
right.
our size.
Yeah, I love that. And, talking a little bit about fitness as well, because I think one thing that a lot of people associate plus size with, oh, you don't care about your health.
It's so wild that people think that, right?
And so I love the conversations that we've had. I think the beginning of this year, right? You started some new routines and regimens and whatnot. And I love the mindset behind that. Sorry, I didn't prep you for this part of it. I just thought of it.
Fine.
But I love kind of the perspective that you've taken on, fitness and being healthy, not trying to get fit to look a certain way, but recognizing there's a legitimate thing of, trying to be healthy and walking and, but tell me a little bit about your PTSD with the gym and how you've been able to rewire your brain to actually enjoy, exercising for the sake of health.
Yeah, right? I feel like so many people who live in larger bodies have told me that they've had a shared experience that I was put on diets from a very young age. I've been fuller figured, whatever you want to call it, from childhood. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting that so many people are okay with accepting that some people are naturally very thin, but they have a very hard time accepting that maybe some people are naturally a little bit bigger. Mm. And that doesn't mean I don't care about myself. Certainly. That's what a weird connection that people make. Right. But as a kid, I was put on diets. And so often diet culture taints movement by using it as sort of a punishment that you have to do in order to earn food, or something that you should be doing because you're big. And unfortunately, along with having to, now I see a registered dietitian who's anti-diet to help me fuel my body from a place of self-love. How can I get fruits and vegetables in because I know they make me feel better? How can I increase my fiber? How can I eat in a more balanced way? And it's only recently that I've even been able to kind of address those things because of the trauma of living under constant diet culture pressure. And with the movement, same thing happened. And so at the beginning of this year, I finally felt like I had kind of worked through some things. And I thought, okay, I know that I can move my body just because I enjoy it and it makes me feel better. Right. It does not have to be tied to a punishment for food. I'm allowed to eat regardless of whether I exercise today or not. And I feel better when I get regular movement. And also, what movement do I enjoy? Right. If I don't enjoy CrossFit, it's not going to happen. Right. I'm not interested. So, I made the choice to incorporate more walking because I really enjoy walking. And, almost every medical professional I've ever seen has literally been like, walking is a great form of movement. It's low impact. If you enjoy it, some people don't like walking. I happen to like walking. Right. So Prime Day came, I bought myself a treadmill. It's in my room and it's just been great because I'm able to just do it whenever I want to and there's no pressure. So removing that stigma, and unfortunately, I'm very privileged that I have the space and the resources to buy a treadmill and put it in my bedroom. But places like the gym can really be like trauma centers for a lot of people who felt judged. And it's like, for lack of a better description, plus size people as a whole really feel like they're darned if they do and they're darned if they don't. If they don't go to the gym, they're constantly ridiculed. And, these assumptions are made about laziness and these really dangerous stigmas. And if you do go to the gym, you get ridiculed and stared at and photographed and these terrible stories. And more importantly, not everyone can go to the gym. There are people with health conditions, disabilities, mental illness that might be stopping them from movement. Right. Your health is not a moral requirement. Right. Respecting other humans is a moral requirement. So I'm able to say, I'm not a bad person if I don't exercise today. And once you remove that burden, you're able to really decide what you enjoy doing. And for me, I've been lucky. I've been like, let's go on a walk. No problem. So it's been a really nice change in perspective.
I love that. And I think just that alone, we could wrap it up here. And that's going to be such an amazing, just tidbit for people to listen to, whether you're plus size, whether you're fuller or not, because even, I, as a doctor, knowing that exercise is good for you, still sometimes have this bad relationship where I'm doing it because I'm supposed to. I'm doing it because you know what I mean? And so it's even helpful for me thinking like, well, what are the things that I love doing? If I at least did that, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and the mental benefit too, we talk so much about health, and what about our mental health? I mean, I know you understand, but your mental health plays a huge role in your overall well-being and can affect your physical health. Absolutely. So when we, degrade people for either exercising or not exercising or their size under the guise of concern for their health, not really, because you're not taking into consideration what you're doing to their mental health. Right. And when we think to ourselves, how do I feel when I incorporate movement I love? Like you said, not only is it better than nothing, but if you're doing something you enjoy, you're getting the mental benefit of enjoyment from it. So it's
double dipping
double dipping. You get double benefit.
Right. Double benefit. Love that. And I think that's a perfect segue into, the questions that I always like to, talk about is people get to know you, people get to hopefully see life through a different lens, a different perspective. That first one is that selfless purpose. So you're doing this, you started it out of your love for fashion, your love for travel. And then I'm guessing at some point it morphed into, if I don't do this, there's some people that legitimately might not be doing so well, or I'm sure you've seen those stories and have those Instagram messages, saved and whatnot. So tell me, through this journey of travel and being a spokeswoman in a sense for people that really don't have much of a voice or feel like they don't have a voice, what's your selfless purpose in all this?
I mean, you summed it up pretty well. I think that I really, through my own journey, discovered that I do believe that each of us have a set of gifts, and our experiences help us to understand those and define those better. And when we share those gifts, the world is a better place. period. And I didn't know that that was going to be my gift. I was a fragrance expert. I was in the fragrance industry,
Really?
and I love perfume, and those things are great, but was that my calling? Maybe not. But yeah, when I get messages from people and they say, hey, I can't go on one of your trips or whatever, but I just want you to know, please keep doing what you're doing because you made me rethink blah, blah, blah. I get messages almost daily saying, I just want you to know I wore a tank top yesterday. Where we live, it's been 105 degrees for a week.
Right.
And to think that there are people who are struggling to dress comfortably for the weather because of how they feel about their bodies or how other people have made them feel about their bodies is like, okay, you've got to keep going. You got to keep sharing just existing joyfully and gratitude. Because I think that is really what's missing for so many people who see themselves in some way or another reflected in me. And I once went to like a leadership retreat where they defined this type of purpose as something called community concern, meaning that whatever your community is, in my case, it would be women and specifically plus size women, you're concerned for their overall well-being as individuals and as a whole, as a community and as a group. It's really like what keeps me going, because I want them to know that it gets better. You don't have to live with those feelings every day, and that there are other people rooting for you.
I love that. And it's so cool. In my office, we'll get those Facebook messages, those pictures of a little baby that had colic, and it's like, they're sleeping. This has never happened. I love those moments where because we've been through, when we had those perspective changes and moments where it's like, my life is different forever now. This breakthrough that I had. And it's so fun, leading people into those steps where their life is different forever now. That person that wore that tank top, they're forever going to be different.
Wear tank tops.
Exactly. And it's amazing. I'm scarred from tank tops personally because I got stung by a bee when I was little. And so I think every time I wear a tank top, it's just an open invitation for a bee to come see me. So we're still working on that.
Just unlocked a new fear for me. So no, just take that up with the bees, sir.
Yeah, right. Just look around, make sure there's none there. Yeah, you're good. Cool. And then flipping the coin completely, as we talk about this selfless purpose, what we're doing to really make an impact and change the world, there is this primal need, I believe, as humans, as creatures, to answer the question, what's in it for me? And I think that's a healthy question to answer. I think a lot of people out of, I don't know, maybe more of an insecurity more than anything, but it's like, I'm always doing things for other people. I never really do things for myself. And I'm like, well, that's really not a healthy relationship with yourself, because then you're caring more for others than your own, survival. And there's this, yin and yang, where it's like, if you care too much about yourself, you're going to push off people. But if you care too much about other people, you're not going to be there to help them in the future. And so I really like to have both of these, knowing that, let's say diamond rings are your thing. I have no idea if they are, but that can be okay because it's connected to your purpose and changing the world. You know what I mean? So what's your selfless purpose when you get those messages, or you go through those hard times and you sit somewhere, or you see something, or you grab something, or you feel something? What is it that you're like, man, this is worth it?
I really feel like for me, it's kind of the travel and fashion, interestingly enough, are really connected, because when I have, okay, my thing is not diamond rings, but my closet is very legit. Okay. I have so many things, and I struggled for so long, like so many people, to just have access to clothing that fit me. And things have improved. It's not perfect, but things have improved. And then on top of that, quite frankly, I have the privilege of brands sending me clothes every single month. And when I put those clothes on and I'm comfortable, comfort is key for me, and I think it's so cute and it expresses who I am, I'm like, okay, we're going to keep on doing this. And even better if I'm wearing something I love while I'm traveling. And I think to myself, this is it. Me having my picture taken in this outfit in front of the Eiffel Tower is the moment. I am here. No one's going to stop me. And just knowing that whatever steps I took that led to that. And therefore, logically, keep taking steps, and it will lead you to the next place that you might not even know I want to go yet. But when I get there, I'll realize that it was for that reason, basically. But yeah, I love wearing nice things and I like going to see cool places. So when I see those things happening, I'm like, yep, you're on the right track.
I love it. And there's this like connection of like, my mind is in this, my body is in this, my like this whole, I don't know, field of being, whatever it entails, like I am all in and all there. You know, I love that. I think that's so key, you know, because so many people I think go through life feeling like they're having to do a bunch for other people. And if you buy yourself a nice piece of clothing, or you get the opportunity for someone to send you a nice piece of clothing, it's like, well, other people can use this. And it's like, yes, but if you aren't at your best, if you don't have those things to reflect on and to motivate you to then go out and be the best version of yourself, like you're only giving the world half of who you can be.
And it's not sustainable.
Right.
It's just not sustainable. You cannot operate at 100 miles an hour with no refueling. Right. It just doesn't work that way. And I like, martyrdom is not a good look on almost anybody. So you can do more for more people for longer if you also take care of you. So 100% agree.
That's amazing, Callie. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we were talking a little bit beforehand. You mentioned you have these retreat getaway deals. And then tell us how people can connect with you if they're interested in learning more, following your journey, checking out these new clothing lines and things that are sent your way.
So you can find me on Instagram, my blog, and TikTok. I have the same handle everywhere, which is Hot Pink and Glitter. So hotpinkandglitter.com is my blog, at Hot Pink and Glitter on TikTok and Instagram. And I do host women's only body positive travel retreats. So if you'd like to join us, we have a trip coming up in Mexico, March of 2022. We have a couple of other trips that have already sold out for next year, but we would love to have you. They're small group format. So you get the chance to hang out with me for a whole week, and as well as some other like-minded individuals, and just have a great time, feeling comfortable, learning to build your confidence, and having a great vacation and experience at the same time. So if you're interested in that, all of that information is available on my social media channels. And we would love to have you.
I love it. I know they're sold out, but tell them the other places that you're going.
We're going to Bali in June of 2022 and Greece, Athens, and Santorini in September of next year.
So y'all need to follow her. So that way when
stay tuned for the outfits.
When the Caribbean, when all these places pop up, you can be first to get on instead of just watching them at a distance. Cool. Callie, thank you so much. I really appreciate having you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Perspective Podcast. To connect with Dr. Bowman, follow him on Instagram at Dr. Chris Bowman. Until next time, make shift happen.